Biloxi blues, it happens every night. And I ain't never met a riverboat dealer that could ever be a friend of mine.
I have not, or a virus.
He never treats me kind, it leaves trouble on my mind. So I'm bidding farewell, putting in my notice, and I'll see you at another time. This highway does not know my name, and I don't care.
No, I don't care.
Heading my way for another place, and I got 3 good tires and a spare. Just a white line gypsy getting out of Mississippi with just enough gas to get there.
Low budget live, not so freaking live, coming to you from the Low Budget Live Bar and Bunker. We renamed it. The Low Budget Live Bar and Bunker right now. Holy cow. And I got some good news for some of you folks and some bad news for folks like my wife and other folks that don't want to hear me talk. We got the voice back. It's back, baby. It is back. It's a little more baritone than usual, but it's back. Got that bass. I could sing a little Johnny Cash right now, I feel like. But we got it back just in time to maybe lose it again to coronavirus or the flu or something else that's going on right now that's completely ridiculous in the United States. I am normally a gigantic skeptic, ladies and gentlemen. I think the media blows things out of proportion for ratings. And I don't know about this one. This is crazy. You know, we've seen a week of cancellations from everything from the NCAA tournament. The XFL even canceled. I mean, come on, the Extreme Football League, College Baseball World Series, the Masters, the NBA season. You know, a lot of these things we use as distractions in life have now been canceled. So I don't know where all this is headed. It's concerning. It's concerning. I'm, like I said, I'm a skeptic. I was like, nah, Corona, whatever. In the beginning, certainly was that way in the beginning. Please hold. I'm going to adjust this camera a little bit. Right there. I feel like I wasn't looking at the camera. Drives me crazy. Where's the producer at on this show? Oh, yeah. Hang on. Adjust the camera. Got it. All right. Low Budget Live. With the one and only me, myself, running everything. Yeah, I'm normally a skeptic, man. Normally a skeptic. And then this guy from the CDC was on Joe Rogan's podcast this week, and Rogan's normally a skeptic about things, but also feel like he is very intelligent and well-spoken and gives everything in life a fair shake. And listening to this guy, I was like, okay, this all right. This might be a little more serious than I first thought, you know. And now, with all the precautions being put into place, I feel like we are, we're doing as much as we can. The whole thing is crazy, though, you know, from Trump talking a couple of weeks ago, basically that it was a hoax or whatever, basically not being alarmed, to having an official address this week and where he was very serious. I don't know. I think that I worry that hysteria at times is worse than an actual virus. I hope that's not the case, but hell, man, we're out of toilet paper, right? I mean, people are going to go out and fend for themselves and fend for their families, and that's the scariest part for me is just, if you're out there, just make good common sense decisions, right? Good common sense decisions, because this is, I don't think it's anything that's going to go away anytime soon, unfortunately, from listening and reading some of the things that I've read, that I've listened to, that I've watched on this situation. And it's just basically starting to pop up. And I know only 4,000 cases worldwide have ended up in fatalities. That's too many, right? Even if we're talking about the flu, thousands and thousands of people die every year. That's too many. They can't cure that. They probably won't be able to cure this. Even though I did hear the University of Tennessee has some folks working on it that think they may be to have something kind of slow the effects of it. We'll see. Hopefully it works out. But we are just this is a surreal time. Coming off of in our little corner of the world, bass fishing, coming off the biggest tournament in the world, over 100,000 people attended, and now it's kind of got you thinking, well, did we need to be there? It's crazy because it went on as scheduled, and there have no cases of this in Alabama yet, but they also can't test for it there yet, supposedly. So I don't know what's going on. A lot of cases of the flu coming out of the Classic, of course, cooped up, 100,000 people in a building. And there's no telling how many flu hands I shook or flu germs you get around in the week. The triple threat came home from the Bassmaster Classic with the flu. Leanne Swindle did as well. Gerald's like me. He's trying to stay quarantined from Lulu, like I'm trying to stay quarantined from the triple threat and stay away from the influenza. But it's crazy. NCAA tournament, college baseball, the Masters, high school basketball tournaments that are going on right now. All these things that we use in life as distractions going away. We all enjoy, to kind of take us out of our day-to-day, we all enjoy watching sports. So I hope that people kind of get back to, in this time, focus up on what's important, your family, and get outside, get outdoors. It can't catch you if you're out in the woods or if you're on the lake. Get out there. Don't be cooped up, man. Make smart decisions. If you don't feel like going to work, I feel like all the bosses right now need to kind of come together and be like, I get it. TH Marine, personally, they after the Classic, they put us in a 2-week self-quarantine. Hey, man, if y'all been around people, we don't want you coming to the office. I'm like, hashtag gone fishing. Hashtag we out here. We out here. Couldn't have happened at a better time. Just got my new boat in. But in all seriousness, man, I am a little concerned. I'm going to try to stay away from crowded areas. I ain't going to lie. And I'm going to do some lake therapy and, just keep your family close, man. Make sure you got the things you need. Don't be crazy because everybody needs the same things. Get what you need and get out the store. And, I've seen videos of people fighting over toilet paper and stuff. That's the kind of stuff that's the most concerning is like us turning on each other. I mean, for the love of God, we fight over every bass counts versus 5 bass. Much less than like a, pandemic situation that we're in right now. So I don't know. I just don't know. I hope all of you out there are well. Hope that this can provide some sort of distraction. And thanks to the fine folks at Startron, Star Bright Cleaning Products, for sponsoring Low Budget Live, keeping LBL on the tracks, keeping it rolling. They, as I mentioned in my horse podcast I did earlier, huge supporters of the Low Budget Live party. We gave away a lot of door prizes, and it was awesome. It was awesome. So huge thanks to Danny and all the crew there at Startron. Make sure you go out and support them. I was actually at a hardware store yesterday. I had to get something working on the boat, and dude, they sell this stuff like hotcakes there. I actually saw a couple different customers while I was in there, and I was like, "Thanks for supporting LBL." And they looked at me like, "What's that?" They had no idea what I was talking about, but I thanked them anyways. I thanked them because I feel like maybe one of these days they'll find LBL and they'll get it. So big thanks to the folks at Startron. They truly do make a lot of disinfectants that can take care of the germs around your house. You need to follow them on social media. Check out all the wide range of Startron, Star Bright products. But if it all comes down to it, we probably just pour a little enzyme fuel treatment right there on the coronavirus. Just kick it right in the teeth. I don't think that's medically proven yet, scientifically proven. But it's coming into our world now, though, a little bit. MLFLW canceled all fan-related events, which, on the BPT side, probably not that big of a deal. They don't have a lot of fan activations, but the FLW Tackle Warehouse Pro Circuit Tour fishes next week at Lake Martin down in Alabama. Normally have a lot of crowds, so no weigh-ins. Bassmaster, the Elite Series, they're going to be at Chickamauga this coming week here in good old Dayton, Tennessee. And they're still, I think they're trying to push the fans away a little bit on that too. I don't think they've made an official statement yet. So you guys will be hearing this on Monday, March 16th. I'm actually recording a day or two early, like always. But right now, as of today, there's, the tournaments are going to go on. So we got something to watch. BPT kicked off at Lake Fork. You got stuff to watch. Keep us distracted as far as the bass fishing world is concerned. But definitely concerning, though. Definitely concerning. I think that working in the industry, I know personally a lot of companies are affected by China because of us importing products. And a lot of American companies have played that game for a very long time, and now it's kind of biting us in the ass a little bit, to be honest, just because of the virus, and now a lot of places are closed down. So I don't think we've seen the effects as far as economically or as far as going to the store and getting your favorite crankbait or getting buying a boat part. I'm hearing from some of the engine manufacturers could end up having serious back orders into the summer. We're these 2-week bans and 3 and 4 week. Yeah, that's fine for the germs itself. But I think for the economic impact, the concerning part for me is, what's going to happen when we can't get things to the consumer. I think all engine manufacturers probably get some form of component part. A lot of boat manufacturers obviously get parts from over there from their vendors, and it's chaos right now. And it's only just beginning in that. So I say this: if you enjoy fishing and the outdoors and everything, be sure to go support the companies that you favor. Okay, because we need this. We don't need this economy to slow down, and the general public will certainly freak out, over a lot of things. But man, we need this little old corner of our world, this fishing world. Support the tournaments, watch them online, support the pros, and let's keep it going, because right now we're the only sport that really hasn't packed up and left. Right? Not at all. Text my first guest for the day. Real quick like. Real quick like. It was crazy. I was talking to a friend of mine from Bass earlier about the Classic. And we had over 100,000 people there, man. Just a week before all this bull crap hits. And it's kind of scary, because you think, does somebody there have it? Maybe not. I don't know. But I want to say, for the record, if any of you gave me coronavirus, shame on you. Appreciate you coming up and telling me you love the channel, but you shouldn't have given me coronavirus. In all seriousness, I hope everybody stays safe out there. With all this, it's just weird. It's almost even weird doing a podcast today, because I've got some entertaining stuff I feel like I want to talk about, and a couple really fun guests today. But it's just weird. It's a weird time. I told my boys that yesterday. This is a time you'll never forget in your life, and I know in my 36 years on this amazing planet that I've dang sure never seen anything like this. And as far as the level of hysteria and preparation that we're now all of a sudden just, going crazy into. And look, you read some of the things from China, and you read some of the things from Italy, who was very much not a third world country. It's kind of scary. It's scary. And I hope that we can catch it before, it gets to be even crazier than it is, man. So just buckle up, wash your hands, and stay away from crowded spaces. But I am glad that we got the Classic in. It was one of the best of all time. I felt like great Classic. Tons of folks came out. Great storylines. And today I had Mr. Hank Cherry lined up. Okay? Had him lined up. Hank's done a lot of media. Obviously, Classic champ, a lot of attention. Hank's done a lot of media this week. He did Bass U. I know he's done several other podcasts this week. Saw him with my boys from the Bass U last night, and they're kind of breaking down X's and O's, right? Breaking it down a little bit. But I've been, y'all know I do different things. We don't talk square bills and what size tro cars you're throwing all the time, right? And I've been debating this. I really want to have Hank on, and I'm going to have Hank on. But my first guest today called me this morning and said Hank is in the bed sick and he wants to reschedule. And I said, hey, that's 1,000% understandable. He's got a fever and he's probably got that Bassmaster Classic flu that I'm calling it. The BC flu BC, because there's been several people that have had it. A lot of folks that worked at TH Marine contracted it. It's a lot of pros that I know, a lot of, and no telling how many fans out there ended up with it. It's just that's a perfect breeding ground for something like that. But I got this call, and it was Miss Jaclyn Cherry, the wife of Bassmaster Classic champ Hank Cherry, the mom extraordinaire of Christian and Miss Bella Grace. And I asked her on the phone, I said, hey, everybody's talked to Hank. Everybody's talked to Hank. I'm like, I'll get with Hank, okay? I'll get with Hank about his mega bass jerk baiting, Abu Garcia, classic win, right? We'll get there. But I want to talk to you, dadgummit. She's somebody I've always thought a lot of in the industry. She's one of the wives that definitely keeps the home fires burning. She's always had Hank's back. I met her back in 2013 at his first Classic, when it was actually the first time I ever met Hank there, and Gerald Swindle introduced me to Hank. But I want to talk today to Miss Jaclyn Cherry. So here we go. First ever interview with a Classic wife.
Well, hello, Mr. Duncan.
Well, hello, Mrs. Cherry. Welcome to Low Budget Live in place of that Classic champ husband that we don't even want to talk to now.
You know what? I don't know if I like that or if I love it. I'm just kidding.
Well, I think this is going to go viral more so than his flu that he has, and you're going to have to take all interviews from now on because I like it. I think it works.
Well, the hard part about it is you listen to interviews and he's constantly talking about the crankbait, the deep diver,
for sure,
gizzard shad and the watercolor, and I'm over here just smiling. Yeah, I don't even know anything what you said, but it sounds good to me.
It sounds great, and it sounds like it changed the Cherry's world in a few in 15 bass changed y'all's world. So
man.
So when you called me this morning and hey, he's got to reschedule, the first thing that popped in my head, I was like, because here's full disclosure. I talked about this before you came on. Everybody does the interview, like you just said. He was on Bass U last night. He's done no telling how much press this week,
right?
Up until he wakes up with a fever last night.
Exactly.
But everybody gets the gizzard shad jerkbait colored interview. I want to talk to you. I want to know. Because it was cool this week, and I told this on here with no voice earlier this week, but we ran into you guys in the lobby of the hotel the day before all this started.
Yeah, you sure did.
And I've known Hank only since 2013. We met at the Classic out there at Grand that he almost won.
Yep.
And I met you guys there too, and we've gotten to know each other a little better over the years, and I thought it was and I wanted to thank you publicly for this, but I thought it was very cool that on the eve of what ended up being Hank's biggest tournament ever, you asked me how I was doing with everything that's going on in my family, with my mom. Yeah. And that meant a lot to me. And I think that's a testament to what kind of folks you guys are. So I wanted to, I got to pick at Christian and give him a hard time and tell him that I hope he can shoot a basketball better than his daddy, which always makes me laugh. But so I want to talk about what this last week's been like. I mean, obviously now we're putting an exclamation point on it with him getting what I'm calling the Bassmaster Classic flu, because everybody seems to have it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, my wife included, and I've been avoiding her like the plague. But so what's it like? What I mean, with Bass Track and Bass Live, we obviously know going into that final weigh-in, he's won the tournament, right? But what are you that last morning on Sunday? What's going through your mind, knowing that basically your life could change if he seals the deal, and knowing what he went through in 2013? Can you talk about that?
Yeah, I mean, 2013. We were. I mean, to us, we were somebody, but to the fishing world, we were really nobodies. I mean, we were just an open family who came through the opens, and hello everybody, and here we are. I mean, we were kind of I was pregnant with my daughter at this time, and so I'm trying to deal with the fact that one of the Bass employees is coming up to me on the last day saying we have to go see the top 3 people because we truly don't know who's going to win. It's within ounces. I need to prepare you, to come up. When I come get you, you need to come with me. And I'm looking at her, and I swear it was Emily Hand with Bass. And and we joked about this at the Champions Toast the other night, that I literally was like Snoopy's mom or Charlie Brown's mom. Wah, wah, wah. I got no idea what she's telling me right now. I look at my father-in-law, and I'm like, you've got to listen to what she's saying, because I have no idea what she's talking. I don't
it's just
know
a blur.
anything. Exactly. So just the thought of him, being in contention. Now, rewind just a little bit from that. Hank calls me when he gets off the water, whether it's an elite event, whether it's here on Lake Norman, no matter what. We don't, he'll, kiss me goodbye in the morning, but normally he just calls me on the way home, or calls me when he's in the car, just let me know I'm off the water, I'm okay.
Right.
Because I'm still the wife that worries about their husband.
Same here at my house, and that's good. That's good.
It's our thing. We've been doing it for 15 years, really 8 on professionally, but even just locally here for a long time. And he called me, and he was very emotional in Grand. He was very honest with me. He said, "Babe, I just want to let you know I missed the fish to cost us the Classic, and I just needed you to know, because they're going to show it on stage and it's going to be pretty emotional. I just needed you to know I lost it." And I said, "Babe, I don't care if you lost it. It would have been amazing, but I don't care. You need to understand that right now. I'm not here for that. I'm not here for, for that. It's not what we said. No matter what, we'd be here for each other. Right. I mean, that's just the way we are.
Right.
So, I mean, and they showed it on stage, and
brutal too, by the way.
It was
brutal.
And I cried just as much then as I did when he got off the phone with me. But from, being around Hank after that moment, he just said, I can't let that moment define me. I said, yeah, you definitely can't let that moment define you, because it's not who you are. We're not wallow in our sorrow kind of people. We're, okay, tomorrow's a new day. We got to get this going.
Figure it out.
We're going to have a pity party for a little bit, but then the pity party's over.
That's right.
And we're done with it, right? So, fast forward to this past week, and Hank was probably, and again, we've been together a long time, and we've been through a lot of ups and downs, financially, personally, you name it, just like any ordinary person.
Right.
I'm not going to sit here and tell you it's been roses and running through.
It's all been cherries and roses.
No, heck no.
No.
Because that's not real, and that's not who we are. I mean, I firmly believe if you can't argue the right way with your spouse or your significant other, then you guys are doing something wrong. If you never argue, then somebody's holding something back.
I agree.
I believe in a good old fight. Now, I don't believe in, obviously, fist fights or anything like that, but I believe in good old.
Well, I mean, there's a time, No, I'm just kidding.
There's a time when you want to smack.
And the YouTube comments went crazy on that one when I said that. I just lost subscribers. Just joking, people.
We're kidding.
I have to say that now. I got in trouble at the Classic over something I said. Imagine that. But I'm like, I was joking. It was a joke.
It was a joke. Yeah, it's a joke. No way. but yeah, so after or right before he left, it was a very different Hank than he's ever been. And I'm not over, blowing that up or anything
Right.
like that. I'm being very honest. He was as calm as I've ever seen him. He was as focused as I've ever seen him. So because he was so focused, I just really try to go off that energy and like make it not a big deal. I'm like, all right, babe, we'll see you in a couple of days. Just go have good practice. I'll talk to you tonight. Like, just really trying to keep up with his vibe. Because normally if he's frantic, then it's like I'm frantic. We're arguing about the fact that he can't stop being not frantic. It's just like a
I can
a hot
relate.
mess.
I know.
Yeah, it's like where you kind of feed off that energy, and so he was calm and I was calm, and then he went to practice. He didn't have from what he told me, and we're one of those couples that the trust levels like probably. There's like not even a smidgen of me that doesn't trust him. So it's like we can talk for like 30 seconds and I'm okay with that. So, and it's been like that for a really long time. And I don't believe in sitting there and talking for 2 hours unless if he wants to talk, we'll talk. But normally it's, hey babe, how was your day? How are the kids? And we FaceTime a little. He wants to know all about the kids. And then back to me and him, it's like, all right, babe, well, I love you. All right, cool. If he wants to talk, we'll talk. Most of the time, it's a very 20-second, I love you. Everything's good. I'm good. I'm going to grab a bite to eat. Talk to you real quick for a bit. All right, love you, bye. Like, that's it. And that's how it was all of practice. It was very short and sweet. If he wanted to tell me how it was, he did. Most of the time, it's okay. Normal day. And Friday, he on his or Sunday, whenever his last day of official practice was, I think it was Sunday. I can't remember, but he caught like a 9 something.
Holy cow! Wow.
He caught like a really, really good fish, and he's like, "I just sent you the picture. You got to show Christian. He'll freak out about it."
That's cool.
And then on his official practice day, it was kind of those ups and downs too. And he's talked about on Bass U and yesterday, but he had his Garmin there was something just kind of off a little that he had to go to the trailer, and Daryl at Garmin had to tweak a little bit, and he wanted to just kind of go out just a little bit just to make sure it was working before he went back to his spots. And he went to the causeway. That was just honest to God, just to see if it worked.
Wow.
And he said he caught a 5-pounder, and then he marked it and he looked around and there was nobody around. And he's like, okay, so I probably need to mark this and maybe come back here. So he still at that time didn't even think anything about it. And he kind of briefly told me that, like maybe a 2-second synopsis of what I just told you. Like, yeah, trolling motor's not work, had to go back, fixed it, went out and called a bit, but maybe it's something, maybe it's not. Like, that's it. Like, he wasn't even sure it was going to be something. So that's kind of how he was. I finally saw him. We drove in Wednesday and got to go to the Champions Dinner and really enjoyed that. It was a nice time. We got to sit with Davey and Natalie Height. That was really fun because I've never been around them that much. And Luke, I tell you, I'm a pretty deep person when you want to get deep about things. And then I'm really sarcastic and whatever if you really want to be sarcastic. But I swear to you, I can't explain the way from Wednesday, from the time I saw him to the dinner, to walking the red carpet, the questions Davey asked, what are you going to do with the money? And I'm like, dude, I haven't even thought about the money. All I've thought about is the trophy being hoisted and the moment when I see that confetti. Yep. Like, that's all I thought about. And he looked at me and he's like, kind of thought like, wow. And I'm like, I haven't. Like, I'm sure there's other women that may have, but I just can't tell you that I thought it's the moment. It's the trophy. It is the moment. You're right. What it meant to him. It didn't, yes, it is life-changing for all of us, but this was not my dream. It was his dream. I just happened to come along with it, Right. And so the serenity and the calm and the dinner and then going out on Thursday, it was like, or Friday, excuse me. It was like, I'm telling you, it was like God and Jesus and Joseph and Mary.
All of them. The whole crew.
Like the whole crew. You know, Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, everybody was sitting there. You know, like I couldn't tell you how you just can't explain the feeling that was of the overcome of just peace.
You know, this is what's strange about this, and you'll hearing you talk about this. We run into you guys for 5-10 minutes in the lobby.
Oh yeah.
And when Hank was walking away, I told stupid Darian, little Darian, I said,
"We love you, Darian.
We love you, Darian." I said, "Dude, he was not. He was just. There was something different." And it wasn't in a bad way. Yeah, because Hank will get fired up. He's like me. He'll get fired up.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
And from what I know about Hank, I was like, dude, he was weird calm. And
it was. And that's me, too. It wasn't a behind the scenes, he freaked out.
Right.
I don't know where I'm going. I don't know what I'm doing. Pray with me right now. It wasn't that.
Yeah.
At all, this entire week. Promise you. I'm not lying.
And he said something to me along the lines of, I said, all right, buddy, well, good luck. And he said, we're ready. And I was like, because being a tournament fisherman, you know, you don't say a lot of things. You know what I mean? Like you feel like you're as ready as you can be. And that can mean a lot of things. But it was the way he said it and not in a confident, cocky way. It was just this calm, we're ready. And I thought, you know, man, this guy's got he's I think something's going on here. And then, of course, you know, the mega 29-pound stringer the first day. And I'm like, okay, he was ready. And Darian, we were actually at dinner. He goes, yeah, I guess he was ready. I said, he definitely was. So we'll talk about a little bit about what it's like being the wife of an Elite Series angler, because I think this is you guys, first of all, don't get enough credit, and I'll be the first to admit that. I know mine doesn't at all, as much as I travel with TH and when I fish the FLW tour and a lot of things going on. But you don't have the luxury, or you haven't made the decision to travel with Hank most of the time, right? Like you stay home with the kiddos, and
I've never traveled with them.
Right, and that's the same with my wife. And there are a lot of wives that do that, and that are fortunate enough to do that. But tell a little bit about what that's like, because I know it's not always easy, right?
No, yeah. I mean, it's I've been in the mortgage industry for 20 years. I got out of college and went straight into real estate and mortgage, and I really don't know anything different in my life. So I've always worked since I was 16, and then since out of college, I mean, I've had a really good job. I mean, I work for Movement Mortgage, which is a national mortgage company, and I'm a corporate trainer. So I get to train all the loan officers that come in the company. We have about over 1,500. So I actually travel as well. Wow. And I get to train and teach people, and which is a huge passion of mine. So when 8 years ago, when he decided to go on tour with the elites, I mean, it was a family decision. We knew that it was the right time. I mean, he had won the money from the third place finish, and that is what funded, because at that time he really didn't have. It was prior to Livingston. It was prior to Evan Williams. So it was prior to those title sponsors coming on. And we didn't have anything. I mean, so that $40,000 really funded him to be able to pay his deposit to be able to fish. And like, oh, dude, that's awesome. You're like walking in it. I'm like, no, you don't understand. This is it. Like if he goes the first couple of tournaments, and you know, we hope he's
able to do it.
You have to look at it from that perspective, you know, business wise. Are we going to be able to do it? Blah blah blah. Because we try to be really smart in the way we make business decisions and financials and all that good stuff. And so and I work, and I tell people all the time, I work, number one, because I'm passionate about what I do. I love my company. I love my job. I love the people I work with. But on the other side of it, I get insurance for everybody in the family, a great insurance plan that is probably a quarter of what we would have to pay private. And then I have a 401k that I've been with my company for 8.5 years, and I'm fully vested in my 401k by my company. So
it's smart.
You know, you can't think about, you got to think about that. Because I mean, there's been ups and downs. I mean, it's a roller coaster. He can have a great year, and then he has a tough year. And then depending on who's president, we may be paying out the wazoo for taxes.
Exactly
so
right.
It's like, we got to think about all that. So the smart thing, and what we've always said, is we're not pulling the kids out of school. Number one, because my son is like, he's following his dad's footsteps. He's an amazing athlete, and he wants to be around his friends, and he's very social, and he loves to play, basketball and baseball. And so we've just said, I'm going to be here, and you're going to do what you have to do. I mean, we've been gone. I think the longest we counted at one point was almost 10 weeks. We were gone apart. Like, he didn't see us at all. But this year's Bass has been really courteous with their schedule to not let it be so compact, to where they do get a little bit of breaks in between to be with their family, which is something that the wives have been asking for a little bit more, is, hey, for the people that don't get to travel, can we have a little bit more time with our family? And then if you want to do it, back to back, we're fine with that. But just don't let it be so much that we miss it. But I'm an incredibly independent person, and so is Hank. And when we went to when we first started dating, that's one of the things that, we basically looked at each other and we're like, look, don't call me if you don't want to call me. Call me if you do. Don't ask me to come over if you don't want to see me. Let's just lay it on the line and just say it the way that it is. So that's how we've always had a relationship. I mean, Hank and I were best friends before we started dating. And I think that relationship really made our independency magnified in our marriage, because we don't have to be with each other 24/7. Like, we're totally fine when when he goes. Am I sad? Absolutely. But I have to work.
But life goes on too at the same time. My wife's the same way. Yeah.
But it's also his passion.
Well,
and because I have a lot of people now. Look, I have friends who their marriages never made it.
Right.
They're fishing and they didn't make it. And I have people that reach out to me when they first started dating, and they ask me, like, how do you do it? How do you know? How does it not drive you crazy? And I'm like, well, it's his passion. I'm like, the good Lord above put something in that man's hands and his brain that he wants to go chase green ones all day long. I mean, that's it. That is his passion. And if my passion my entire life has been to sing, now, had I ever been good enough to go to Nashville or wherever, you better be darn tootin', Hank's going to be the first one in line to take me there.
Of course.
So it's not just that. I mean, it is a full circle. And if you are not behind your man, and you don't understand that there are not many people on this earth that can do what those guys do, and you see it through the eyes of them, instead of through the eyes of you learn to see him as Jesus sees him. And I know I'm very spiritual, I'm very deep right now, but that's how I see it. Because I didn't make him. I did not form him. So who am I to say, oh, this is what you should be doing, or you should be doing this? No. He was put on this earth to fish. He was put on this earth to love kids and to teach kids the love of what it can be to be outdoors. That is what he is put on this earth to do.
And he's definitely passionate about it.
Oh,
Definitely.
God, yes.
To say the very least.
Absolutely. And I'm not going to take that away from him. Now, has there been times where I've had to tell him, hey, babe, that's enough.
You close her in the driveway. Has there ever been that moment? Have y'all ever had that moment? Because my dad tells a story. When my mom passed away, he was actually talking to a preacher. He told this story about my mama. My dad was a big tournament fisherman in the 80s, right? And my mama was pregnant with me in 1983. And he went to a tournament at Toledo Bend, Texas, and he came home, and his craft was in a driveway. And he told that on my mama.
Oh my God!
Yep. His clothes were in the driveway. Yep. His clothes were in the driveway.
No, I don't think we've been there. I don't think that I've ever had the clothes in the driveway, but I have had the talk where I've looked at him and I've said, "Babe, it's enough. Like, it's enough for this weekend. The kids and I'm about to go crazy. I need a moment just to kind of breathe. So if you could stay home, that could be it."
And I think that's something that all of us as men that pursue things in the outdoors or whatever your passion is, like you're saying, that we do take for granted a lot. I know I do. My wife just needs some me time, obviously, and I'm like, hey, I'm going fishing here. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do a podcast. I'm going to do a YouTube video, and then you and I'll go to dinner maybe tomorrow night at 8:00 or something, you know. And you do.
That's the key.
You need somebody to be able to ring your bell, though.
That's the key is looking at it from like a month, and
yes,
and I tell that to the new couples that come in and they ask you, how do you and Hank do it, you know? And I said, look, we have a calendar, and I know what's going on with kids. I know what's going on with him. And we try to fit each other in, whether it's we put the kids to bed and we agree not to go to sleep and watch a movie.
Yep.
Like whatever it might be.
Got to do it.
Yeah. And the 5 love languages is a good one for anybody. I don't care if you don't like to read. Let your wife read it and then let her figure out your.
Let her tell y'all what you fixing to do.
Exactly. because I feel like if you don't understand how they tick, like Hank is a big acts of service. He's one of those guys like. If he looks more to if he comes home and his clothes whatever clothes he had here aren't clean, or it's like if there's an act of service, like, you know, is his garage put to the side so his boat can get in there? Is the grass cut, which I don't do, but like it's like the little things. It's the acts of service. You know, we used to have a Jeep, and when he come home, he would want to get in the Jeep and not his truck. And he would want the Jeep to be full of gas. Yeah. So like that's if I could give it
little things.
Anybody who's like, my girlfriend just doesn't understand, and I'm like, so my advice to that point is, well, have you really sat down and talked about it? Because if she and you, or he and he, or her and her, whatever, I don't care. if you guys have sat down and talked about it, like if you've literally sat there and looked at each other and be like, this is my passion. I will respect your time, and we will have time together. I need you to understand that I want to fish, but I also will respect you and knowing when it's been too much and I need to, you know, take a minute to be with you too. And if you're okay with both of those feelings and you can do that, then you can't throw it up in his face later.
And here's the thing, fellas, if you're listening to Miss Jaclyn here, and you should be, I mean, all she's telling you is you can go fishing, but you just got to Netflix and chill sometimes too. And we all win. We all win, you know?
Well, look, if you want me to ring your bell, you better ring mine.
That's
too.
right. Hey, I wish I had a bell. What's Jacob Wheeler? They say ding. I wish I had something to ding right now, but I don't.
See?
I don't have anything. I don't have anything.
But it's true though. I mean, it's got, I mean, now and you were asking earlier, like, you know, what's life like and how it's different, and I looked at him the other day, I think it was Monday, when we were driving home, and I said, no, what I'm about to say, don't take it the way that it's going to come out, because if you take it the way that it comes out, you're not going to understand what I'm meaning. It's a deeper meaning than this. But I told him, I said, you do realize now it's my turn to take care of you, right? And he just he did look at me like a minute, and I said, you've taken care of me and the kids now. So now it's my turn to take care of you. Because, you know, he just won the Bassmaster Classic.
No kidding.
It's reeling off the hook.
Oh, man, yeah.
And for the most amazing ways. Please understand, there's no complaining whatsoever.
No. But you also got to have time for your family. And that's what Ott said. His advice to the Classic champ would be is prioritize, because you're going to get pulled in a lot of, you know, amazing opportunities. But you've got to be able to say no sometimes. And that's very hard for us. When you get a once in a lifetime opportunity, it's always that temptation's going to be there to say yes to everything. I'm the world's worst. Listen, I can have the busiest week going on with a million different things, and somebody's like, hey man, you want to go film a video tomorrow? Well, yeah, without even checking with anything. Like I'm notorious for that, you know. But you have to seize those moments, and but at the same time, it has to be a careful balance.
Absolutely, and he's really good at that. I mean, you know, we're because we're both very passionate people. Sometimes our passion, we get a little rowdy, but We most of the time it's one or the other's kind of doing it, so it's never both at the same time. You know, and so you just kind of have to understand, you know, it with a lot of people calling, I'm just trying to say it's all right. We'll get it scheduled.
We'll figure
Don't
it
worry.
out.
But right now, I'm like, you know, you've got to go in there and you've got to lay down until when you get up, you feel that you can go. Because until you're going, the worst thing you can do is get up and go, and you're not ready to get up and go.
No,
And then
doesn't sound like it.
No, and that's what, and I mean, talking to a lot of the bass wives and girlfriends, I mean, there's a bunch of bass people got sick, and there were like 10 of the elite or 10 of the tournament guys got sick.
A lot of folks from TH Marine got it, and then my wife's had it. I've been sleeping out in the low budget live bar and grill, avoiding her at all costs this week. That's how supportive I am. Like, you good? Okay, all right. Yeah. I'm gonna be out here.
Yeah. I'm good. Yeah. And that's, I mean, I went to the grocery store today, and it was, surprisingly enough, it wasn't Armageddon there. So yeah, it was, there was toilet paper left, and
amazing.
And that was good. Yeah. I was very happy. So I'm just, you know, making sure he's okay right now. That's my number one goal is making sure he gets the mental and the physical rest for what is about to come, because if he doesn't,
tornado of all kinds of craziness is what's coming the Cherry's way.
Yes. Well, bring it, man. Bring it.
Listen, I can't thank you enough for doing this. Oh, yeah. This was awesome. Absolutely. This is, and I'm going to title this podcast, you heard it here first, this is the Untold Story of the 2020 Bassmaster Classic.
Nice.
Yes. With a picture of Jaclyn right there. Maybe choking Hank or something. I don't know. We'll do something clickbaity to get some more views. That's awesome. Thank you so much for taking the time to do this. And tell Hank we will get together in the next couple of weeks. I know he's got an elite next week, but tell him I said to get to feeling better, and absolutely be thinking about you guys. And thank you, and congratulations.
Thank you so much, Duncan. We really appreciate you guys for all you do for us.
Well, we're grateful to be a part of Team Cherry. That's for sure.
Amen. All
right. I will talk to you soon.
Luke.
Thank you.
All right. Bye.
Jaclyn Cherry, the first lady of bass right now. That was cool. Very cool. She's Jaclyn's always been one. She's going to tell you what she thinks, and she's well spoken and can get her points across. And that was awesome, man. That was because I think there's so many things in this that people don't realize about the sport in general. And I've said it on here before, you know, my wife, it was 8 weeks on the road with the tour plus TH time, and she's home a lot. But she has her own identity. She doesn't need me for an identity. And Jaclyn's the same way in that she doesn't need me, you know, and she doesn't need Hank. She's got her own gig, but she fully supports Hank, and that's awesome, man. That's awesome. But she's managing the kids at home. Lots going on. So my hat's off to all them hard-working women out there. Text our next guest. Texting our next guest. So make sure he's good to go. So that was cool. I hope y'all enjoyed that as much as I did. I just wanted to do something different. When she called me this morning, I was like, dude, let's talk to Jaclyn. Let's get her side of everything going on. And, you know, I think that was really cool and insightful, and some of those stories. And we're definitely going to have Hank on. He's going to come on. They do have an Elite Series this week, so it'll probably be in a couple weeks when the kind of craziness dies down. But that was awesome. So my next guest, we're going to try to get him on. My next guest is someone that I have looked up to in the fishing industry for a really, really long time. I fished against him over the years, spanning back to probably the early 2000s. This guy has been a fixture around the sport of bass fishing since 1996, fishing over 130 events with just bass. He has over $1 million in winnings combined between bass and FLW, and he just finished second in the Bassmaster Classic. We're going to see if we can get Mr. Todd Auten on the phone, pick his brain a little bit. We shall see.
Hello?
Todd Auten, how are you, sir?
Hey, I'm doing good. How about you?
I'm doing great, buddy. I am doing great. Not as good as you. Second place at the dang Classic. Just out here making them have to catch them.
Well, I could be doing better. I could be doing like Hank.
You could be doing about $250,000 better, I guess, right now.
Yeah, I ain't complaining, but I did make Hank earn it.
You made him earn it, man. That was that's a fact. I actually before I called you, Hank is at home in bed with the stinking flu.
Oh, man.
Yeah, and so I had Jaclyn on. So This is my other story of the Classic. So everybody's been getting the Hank interviews, but man, I just said this before you came on. And I've told you this before, but you've always been a guy in this industry I've looked up to immensely, not only for fishing ability, but just the way you handle yourself. And you're just a pro, man. And you've been one of the most consistent guys around at times, and just over $1 million won between FLW and Bass. And you've kind of hopscotched back and forth between Bass and FLW, a couple times? You fished the Tour, you fished the top 100, I guess, back in the day, and now the Elites.
Yeah, you know how poor old fishermen is. They have to skip around and do what they can
That's
to make
right.
a living. And,
and you're...
It's nothing personal.
No, not at all.
Trying to make a living.
Absolutely. And you're prime example of a guy that you want to fish as many tournaments as you can get in. If you can get in it, you want to fish them. And that's what you've done, man. But talk to me about, going in that last day, you still got a shot. He laid a big bag up there the first day. He backed it up pretty good, but you got a shot. And what's going in your mind that last day? Because, you had a Forest Wood Cup. This is your fourth Classic. You're no stranger to championships. 6 Forest Wood Cups. You've been in that championship contention. I followed you as on the water reporter at Wheeler after you mashed a big bag on the third day, going in the last day there when John Cox won, and you end up third in that event. But talk about it. Were you nervous that last day? Did you feel like you had a chance? Talk to us about that.
Well, I wasn't really that nervous. Hank had such a big lead on me. I knew that either he was going to have to stumble or I was going to have to land on some big ones. And, for me, the whole practice, the whole tournament, everything, I've only caught that one big fish.
Mm-hmm.
I was pretty consistent in catching, quality 3-pounders. But, that wasn't going to win it. But I did try some different stuff the second day, some deeper staging places, stuff like that, just to see, going into that last day if that was working. And none of that was working for me. So, I knew that I was just going to have to buckle down in there where I was getting bit and, maybe get lucky and catch another big one in there or two. I know I needed 2 to get rid of, a couple 3-pounders to catch him. So it was going to be a struggle. So, we was, probably just fishing for sackets, a lot of us, but, we wasn't going to give it to him though. Everybody was trying real hard and, you just can't determine what size fish you're going to catch a lot of times.
No, that's something that always amazes you in fishing. Like you're saying, you had them figured out. You had a pattern. You're catching a lot of fish. And you just said, I was catching more 3-pounders to 4-pounders and no real big ones. Isn't it amazing how that does work out? And it's hard to predict what size that fish is going to be when it bites. We can get on schools sometimes and go, man, this is a school of really big ones. But fishing like you do and like I do, you're out there slinging a chatterbait around. You're a grinder. I would always say that you're a grinder, and a lot of times you end up being more consistent, but it's hard to predict whether it's going to be a 3-pounder or a 7-pounder. I would say in your fishing style a lot of times, and just in general.
Yeah, right. And I knew I was around the big ones because, it was the same area where I caught that 7-9. Mm-hmm. And you're like, well, I'm around them. But I think the pressure, a lot of spectators and stuff, it puts pressure on those bigger fish. They know.
They know.
And they don't bite, they won't bite not unless, some kind of weather condition comes through or something, a front.
Makes them put their guard down a little bit. Yeah, I would agree with that. And Guntersville, growing up on the Tennessee River like I have, it is one of those famed fisheries with a ton of big fish. But and you fish a place, 2 lakes really, between Wiley and Norman that get an enormous amount of pressure. And you know how hard it is to catch big fish on those lakes. Even though Guntersville's got them, I mean, it ain't every day that you're out there smacking 6+ pounders. I mean, they're smart, man. They know the drill over there.
Yeah, I mean, you know how it is. You go out and practice usually, and you can catch those big ones.
That's
and then the
right.
tournament comes, and you're like, where'd they go? They ain't dumb.
What do you think contributes to that? Because Wesley Strader and I, for years on tour, had a theory, and you can tell me what you think about this. But I've always said that. Think about it. You pull up at, and I think we were talking about it at Smith Lake a couple years ago. Pull up, first day at FLW practice, it's lights out. You can get bit doing whatever you want to do, pretty much wherever everybody's talking. Oh man, it's going to be the best tournament ever. And as the week goes on, it does get a little slower. And then by the time Thursday comes around, they still catch them, but it's not, quote, easy. We think it's got as much to do with, and this was more Wesley's theory, but I agree with it, with the decibels, the sound. Because everybody in practice ain't running around wide open, full bore. You know what I mean? I think
kind of laid back.
Yeah, I really do think, because think about, fish don't always bite as good on a Sunday or Saturday or Sunday, especially in the summertime, as they do on a Wednesday. And I think that's got a lot to do with noise. I really do.
Yeah, I do too. I mean, I think the pressure is one thing, I think, and also, a lot of these lakes and stuff, they don't pull water on the weekends.
That's right. That's very true.
That's another factor I would consider in there too. Those fish don't set up the same, and you go out there during the week, they're pulling water. They seem like they're ganged up.
That's right.
On these points.
That's true.
And around here on Lake Wiley, they don't pull water on the weekends hardly ever. And your pattern that you've learned all week is just might as well throw it out the window.
Yeah, you gotta adapt.
It ain't gonna work.
So, talk to me a little bit about your pattern there. I know you were focusing on eelgrass, from what I've read.
Yeah, it had a scattered milfoil in there with it. But
okay.
The milfoil was up a little bit shallower, probably in the 2-foot range, and it seemed like, most of my fish, I was probably setting 4 or 5 foot of water and throwing to 2.5, and some places it come up to about 1.5 foot from the surface, but a lot of places was just pretty solid.
Yeah.
And there was 2 little sections. I had one on the left they were about 100 yards apart, really, but those 2 best areas, it's where it was broke up. And,
okay.
And one made kind of like a little ditch going back into that flat, and it just seemed like there was funneling into there, out from that 7-8 foot of water, and they would stop there, I guess, before they're moving on. But I think these fish, were probably there from prior weeks to warmer water, when they pull up, and they're kind of just setting up
there.
They're
committed.
And it gets cold, they hunker down, because the first day when we had all the rain the night before, it cooled the water off there and muddied it up a lot. And I was still able to catch those 2, including that big fish. But after the wind got blowing more and more, it just seemed like it muddied up and those fish would not bite. So I had to change the first day, but it was back to normal the second day, and the third day they were just chomping in there.
Now, on the first day, what adjustment did you make to?
Well, I left there with 2, and I went straight to a dock and caught one, and that happened to be the only dock bite I got. But
suckered you in for a little bit, though, didn't it?
It suckered me in, and I tried that for a while, and you know what? I said, I found some fish in honeycomb on a point up there, caught a 4-pounder in practice. It may be nothing, but I'm running. And it was the first day, it was rough. I didn't want to go up there, but I said, shoot, I got to go. I got to do something. And get up there, and I catch one, and then I'm like just fan casting, put the power poles down, and man, I started catching them every which way I threw, and
unreal.
And then I ended up with all my weight, other than the 2 fish I caught down there earlier. I caught the rest of them right there, and it just worked out for me. And then the next day, I'm thinking, well, I know it's still going to be trash. The wind blew all night, and it was a mud hole in there yesterday. So I said, but I'm close. I'm going to go in there and check it. And when I went in there, the water was just, the perfect color.
Wow.
And the mud had actually like switched sides. It had been pushed to one side, and my little area was cleaned up a lot. And I knew right then, I said, well, this is going to be the place to be here.
Wow.
To catch them. And I stayed until 11:30 or 12. I quit getting bit. So, I went and run some of those deeper staging places trying to catch some bigger fish. And, that didn't work. So I said the next day I'm just going to camp out here and live or die right here, and that's what I did.
So do you think those fish and those, because we've seen these kind of situations, and it seems like it's grass lakes that this happens on more than anything, but do you think when that mud blows in on them in that grass, because they are sight feeders for the most part, I feel like, in that grass, and the same happens at Okeechobee and different places, but it will shut them down a little bit. Do you think they just hunker down right there most of the time?
I don't think they ain't going to move out of there. I mean, that was one thing about that area that had tons of bait in there, and I could still see the bait moving around with my live scope,
Yeah.
And it was, you're set there in one spot and you can see the bait fish moving inside the grass, and you're like, man, it's just, they're hunkered down in there.
They're just in it. Yeah.
Yeah. They're in it, and they're just waiting, until it gets right.
How much has live scope changed the way you fish or your confidence level? Because for me, I do see them all the time. You know what I mean? Like, you see fish and bait fish, and really it can either help your confidence or hurt it in an area, if this is a place you thought you were going to catch them.
Oh, yeah. It's funny, like you take it up to Lake Norman and you're throwing at a brush pile and you're like not getting bit. And before you know it, they're all sitting under your boat, like the trolling motor.
Yep.
And you're like, all these little ones come out and just fall to the boat. And it's amazing, because I never would have known before that these fish were following my bait. And, you could drop something like a little drop shot down there and catch them.
Right.
But they're small.
They're little guys.
And, yeah. But just because you can see them don't mean you can always catch them. But it does bring my confidence up to the point whereas at least I know something's there and I can see the cover. Can't always make the fish bite, but, you feel better when you see some movement in there.
No doubt. Yeah, no doubt about it.
I ain't fishing a dead stick.
Yeah, exactly. Especially when you're going to be firing around a, some kind of moving bait. But so was a chatterbait kind of your jackhammer? Was that kind of your primary deal, or were you mixing anything else in there?
Yeah, with the jackhammer, I was using that fire crawl.
Yeah, which, by the way, I've been reading comments on this on the internet. It's kind of funny. I've never even seen that color until like the last 2 weeks, and now everybody throws that color.
Well, actually I was up at a tackle store up the road here and seen one, Rusty Hooks, and it was, I was like, man, need to get some of them, but it was all spoken for.
Yeah.
So I didn't get any, so I ordered some and got in 6. And my buddy wanted 3, and I took 3, and this was prior to the tournament. And, after the tournament, I was like, man, Bass took one, the reporter took one, another one took another one. I had one left, and I was like,
and you got
am I going to get these things back? I might need them next time.
Yeah, you got another important Tennessee River tournament coming up this week, right?
Yeah, so I ended up calling my buddy and say, hey, I need my baits back.
Because
so
now I bet you
can't borrow them back in case I need them.
You probably can't order any right now on Tackle Warehouse, I'm guessing.
I stopped in a couple tackle stores coming home from Gunnersville just to restock, and I was like, man, ain't nobody got nothing.
That's what the Classic does, man, right there. That's what it does every time. Talk about real quick, what do you think makes the area you guys are from, that North Carolina, South Carolina area right there on the line, so special? Because you got guys like Hank Cherry, who just won the Classic, Brian Thrift, Matt Airy, you, Brian New, guys from the Pack, Chris Bumgardner's. What is it about that area? Fritz is a North Carolina guy. But so many, Alvin Shaws, there's so many great anglers, and I know I'm leaving some out, and if I am, I apologize, y'all. But there's so many from that area. What do you think makes that area so special?
I don't know. We have a bunch of lakes around this area. So, growing up, it was like, we're going here one day, we're going there the next. It was just diversity.
Yes.
And I think that helps you more than anything, not getting stuck on one kind of lake or one river. We fish, make go to Norman and fish up the river, and then got that kind of current and stuff. But it's just the diversity, I think, of the different lakes. And we used to have grass in some of the lakes, and used to fish them a lot down at Santee and Murray, but most of that stuff's gone. But that's what I kind of grew up around, and a lot of big fish in these lakes too. So
no doubt.
I don't know. It's just something in the water.
It definitely is something in the water, man. That's a special region of the country. You see these pockets, you got Texas guys, and of course Tennessee River kind of guys. But that North Carolina, that little area right there is really special. Shane LaHughes from over there, Brandon Cobb's from over there. I mean, Cobb's maybe more towards Hartwell, but yeah, I mean, just so many guys come out of there, and they're all great fishermen. I know you guys have a lot of great locals over there that just choose not to fish the national level.
Me and Hank probably live about 25 miles apart.
Wow.
And Thrift, he's 20 miles. I mean, you just got all these guys around this lakes.
And y'all all fish local tournaments when you're home a lot, man.
Sometimes. Yeah. I try to get in a night tournament here or there.
Heck yeah.
But,
that's awesome,
most time
man.
they kick my butt, but,
Have you ever fished against Thrift on Moss Lake? Have you ever?
No, I'm not going to do that. I know better than that.
I watched Thrift's Instagram feed during the summertime, and just like, him poor folks, just leave them alone. Him and Ari will go down there and just take your money. I'm like, come on, Thrifty. Come on, Thrifty.
You don't need no more money.
You don't need any more. Sure. No, heck no. I'm planning on never donating to him again if I don't have to. Well, look, man, I really appreciate you taking the time to wait on me to call you this morning. Jaclyn and I ran over just a little bit, but man, I want to wish you the best of luck, Todd. I hope you win Chickamauga. Get some payback on Hank. Make him finish below you there. And
yeah, we'll have to. A buddy of mine sent me a picture of me and him winning a tournament, and then said, well, we did beat Hank here. So I have beat him once.
That's so cool to think about this fishing world being that big but that small at the same time. You and Hank going against each other in the Classic, fishing against each other for years is pretty dang cool. But man, you kicking off the year right. I feel like it's hey, no better time than now to win Angler of the Year.
I hear you. Hey, we're just going to take one day at a time.
That's all you can do.
I appreciate all the kind words everybody's told me all week. So.
Absolutely. And I'm gonna tell everybody when we get off here, make sure you follow Todd on all social media. Todd Auten Fishing on Instagram, Facebook, all that good stuff. Make sure you're following him and show this man some support. I promise you, if you follow along, you're going to learn something from this guy.
All right, boy.
All right, sure, Todd. I appreciate it, man. Good luck the rest of the year.
All right.
Thank you. Todd Auten. Todd Auten, man, that's a guy that, oh, gosh, I just sit and listen to him like this. Like, tell us another fish story, Todd. He's forgotten more about fishing than I'll ever know, like most people ever know, I promise you. And, God, he's so consistent, such a good angler. And he is just that grinder, it's like that Wesley Strader, Swindle kind of mentality, just can catch one in the fall. Holy cow. When it's tough, he don't care. He absolutely will beat up on you in the fall. Just absolutely catches them up everywhere he goes, to quote my good buddy Chris Jones. But he catches them. He catches them up, and wish him the best of luck. Can't thank Jaclyn and Todd so much. Can't thank you enough for coming on the show with all the craziness going on in the world. Hope y'all enjoyed that. A little bit different. Didn't get the winner of the Classic, but we got the winner of the Classic. We got Miss Jaclyn on, got Todd on. Make sure you're following Todd. Thank you so much for listening to Low Budget Live. Thank you so much for watching the videos. I hope you, if you haven't seen the video of Tanner kicking my butt on a swim jig in Florida with some beggins behind me and my buddy Scott Crippen, go check that out. I want to say thank you for participating in the Fat Ass Challenge. I know I did not bring this up when my voice was shot, but I did win the challenge. Unfortunately, Corey conceded. We did not do a final weigh yet. It was very anticlimactic, but I'm down to 193 pounds. And some of you have sent me your final weights. Please send those to me. Send me your final weights. lowbudgetlive, the number 1 at gmail.com or on Instagram, however you want to do it. But send me those. We're going to give a prize pack, Startron. I'm going to send you some baits. Startron's got some cool stuff they're going to send you. But hit me up. FAC, it's over with. Thank you so much for participating in that. I hope that a lot of you got healthier. I know I sure have. I'm still working on it. If we sit here in the bunker, we're going to be eating canned corn and green beans for a while, so I'm going to lose even more weight. I'm going to look like a dadgum meth addict before it's over with. But thank you. But reach out to me. I know I've seen some comments. I apologize. In the craziness of Low Budget Live that night and the issues I discussed on the last podcast, it was just crazy. So thank you so much for that. We're going to do some other fan things this year. I've got some ideas coming, okay? But thank you. And let's pick a winner, and we'll talk about it on the next show. Get that to me in the next couple days, all right? Stay safe out there. Make good decisions. I haven't talked to you like your daddy. Make good decisions. This hysteria is going to be crazy. Stay safe. Hope all of you stay healthy, and hope you have a good week, and hug your daggum mama, all right? Hug your mama. Going to take you out with some Luke Duncan, Biloxi Blues, my song right here. Thank y'all so much for listening. See y'all next week.
Town to Tupelo, I never could make it last. Spanish moss and Civil War ghosts, well, I'm gonna leave them in the past. Any direction, Lord, I'll be fine. It don't matter east or west. North, south, wherever the wind blows, I'm leaving those burdens at rest. This highway, it does not know my name, and I don't care, no, I don't care. Heading my way for another place, and I got 3 good tires and a spare. Just a white line gypsy getting out of Mississippi with just enough gas to get there.